huge wave of cold air is spreading across the US as we speak. This has already led to a 2,000-mile stretch of snow from Texas to Maine, but that's just the start of what's getting ready to happen. More cold air is on the way, and the potential is definitely there for real snowstorms to develop as we go forward. How big will these snowstorms be, and will they affect you? Well, we have to take a closer look at this massive wave of cold air that's coming in to really understand how it could affect any storms that may pop up in the future. You think it's cold now? Well, the coldest air of the season so far is still on the way as this Arctic blast just keeps getting stronger. As you can see on this forecast models, residents from Minneapolis to Chicago, St. Louis, and Oklahoma City will be surprised it's not January, as thermometers bottom out close to 20 to 30 degrees below normal all this week. It won't get out of the middle 20s in Chicago during the day on Friday, and the high temperature in Kansas City will be right below the freezing mark. But what you're really going to feel is the wind chill. The Chicago area and north will likely experience sub-zero wind chills at some point. And if you're north of Oklahoma City, your wind chill will dip to 20 or colder by Friday morning. The mechanism that's allowing this cold air to sneak in is actually producing rain and snow in the northeast right now. This is the same system that's dropped a nearly 2,000-mile swath of snow across the US over the past few days. Starting Monday, November 14th, a large storm system with a very skinny band of snow along the backside brought the first measurable snow of the season to many in the Midwest and Ohio Valley. Elk City, Oklahoma got the highest total with 7.3 inches of snow, and the city of Clinton actually received their earliest 4-inch snowfall since 1988. A widespread 2 to 3 inches fell in portions of northern Illinois, eastern Iowa, and Missouri, and it's still snowing in New York, Vermont, and Maine. And I don't know all this just because of some snow reports and some fancy colors on a map either. We've got thousands of people out there who have officially received their Yolometer measuring sticks, and they've been sending us ground truth and proof of what's actually going on out there by sending in those awesome snow pictures. Thank you guys so much. And by the time this system is finally out of here, some people in New York and Maine are going to have over 3 inches of snow on the ground, maybe even significantly more in some isolated spots, especially far north. Now, as that storm exits, the cold air behind it is going to keep pushing deeper into the US. This is going to set us up for a potentially stronger snowstorm in the very near future. But while that cold air is sinking to the south, it'll be going over the Great Lakes at such an angle that we might see historic levels of lake effect snow in some spots through the end of the week. I'm not kidding, the most intense lake effect snow event of the year and possibly of the past several years is getting ready to be underway, especially for areas near Buffalo, New York. I'm sure you guys remember the Snowmageddon of 2014, where some places in western New York received over 5 feet of snow. Well, this is what we might see again. Travel is going to be difficult to downright impossible along sections of I-90 near Buffalo and I-81 north of Syracuse Wednesday night all the way through Sunday morning. It's November, so this is technically going to be a pretty early lake effect event for a lot of places around the Great Lakes. And that's actually pretty significant because the earlier these events happen, the warmer the lakes are. The warm air from the lakes will combine with a bone-chilling cold wave raking over it and literally bury some places in close to 6 feet of snow. These lake effect snow bands will essentially be like training thunderstorms without as much of the thunder booming. Lightning and thunder cannot be ruled out though. I think there's a really good chance that some people are going to see some like thunder snow out of this. And yes, you heard me right the first time. Somewhere near Buffalo, New York, probably just a little bit to the south, is going to see up to 6 feet of snow from this event through Monday. And this is actually going to affect all areas south and east of the lakes to some extent. Watertown could see 2 feet or more of snow, and Traverse City is going to be in the 2-foot plus club. It's not a widespread area, but all these little pockets of snow, the farther in you get to that perfect spot in the snow band, the more likely it is that you could see life-threatening snow from this. This is the kind of stuff that can cave a roof in or get you stranded on the highway and knock out power for extended periods of time. Make sure you're prepared for this one. All of the top 10 snow events in history in Buffalo have occurred in November or December, and this is thanks to those really warm lake temperatures. And that's exactly what we're about to see here. But while all that is going on, the cold air is still going to be compiling and getting stronger down to the south. This cold air is there for the taking if a storm wants to come into play. And a big snowstorm does want to happen if you really look at the overall pattern and what's getting ready to unfold across the US. It looks like everything's coming together just right. Some of you who are watching this right now are going to be dealing with a major snowstorm in the very near future. But who exactly and how major are we talking about? I'm going to tell you right after we show some love to today's awesome sponsor. Established Titles, the Scottish custom that helps save the planet. With Established Titles, all you weather weenies can officially become weather lords and ladies. This unique Scottish custom allows any individual to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land so that they can earn the official title of Lord or Lady. How freaking cool is that? Y'all are gonna have to refer to me as Lord Ryan now that I have the official certificate. Each section of land has its own unique plot number so you can actually see its exact location at any time. And if that wasn't awesome enough, Established Titles works closely with global charities such as One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future in order to plant 1 tree for every single order they receive. Established Titles even sells couple packs with side-by-side plots of land that make perfect last-minute gifts for loved ones. So purchase your plot today. You'll be helping out the environment and my channel. And when you use my discount code, you're going to get 10% off your purchase. That's right, just click that link down in the description. You're going to get 10% off and you're going to be a lord or a lady and it's going to be awesome. You're going to love it. Now, let's get back into the video. So, Western New York is about to get buried in snow. Texas and Oklahoma have already seen some good snow. What about everybody else? When are we going to see another massive snowstorm that rocks our socks off like back in the 90s? The answer might actually surprise you. But first, we got to put our thinking caps on and I'm going to educate you, just so you can really appreciate the complexity behind what's getting ready to happen. In some of my previous videos, we talked about different climate patterns that help us predict general weather patterns in the future. We talked about La Nina and the PDO, which both are indices for large-scale patterns that affect the type of weather we could see even months in advance. People often ask me, Ryan, how are you the most correct weather person I've ever seen? Are you some sort of weather wizard? The answer to that question is no, I just have cheat codes. If you really understand these indices and their impact on global and regional weather patterns, you can seem like a wizard when it comes to making seasonal synoptic weather forecasts. And let me go ahead and introduce you to one more of these cheat codes called the NAO, or the North Atlantic Oscillation. If you're a snow lover on the East Coast, you're going to want to familiarize yourself with this one. This index changes based on how strong the surface high and low pressure systems are over the northern Atlantic Ocean. It's called an oscillation because the pressure systems oscillate, meaning they grow stronger and weaker on a month-to-month basis. And this has crazy big impacts on all the weather around them. A positive NAO means that the high and low pressure systems are very strong. This funnels air quickly between the two systems, strengthening the jet stream. Think about it like a river, where the two pressure systems are the banks. If you add more dirt to the banks, then the river gets thinner, and you need to force the same amount of water through the thinner space, which means that the river's going to speed up. It gets deeper, faster, and essentially stronger. Like imagine trying to walk through it, it'd be a lot harder. Now, a negative NAO indicates when the high and low pressure systems are weak. This means that our river widens and the banks on either side recede. This leaves a lot more room for the water to spread out as it moves through and slows down. Therefore, it makes our jet stream weaker, and we're actually seeing this signal show up on models for the beginning of December. And remember, a weaker jet stream is a more variable jet stream. This leads to a more sloppy presentation, and our theoretical bowl that holds all the cold air up in the north starts letting it spill out through all those loosey-goosey wobbles. This tends to set up a pattern over the northern Atlantic where there's a huge ridge of high pressure, and usually having a large ridge will ultimately deepen any troughs that form on either side of it. Because of our location, this often means that a big trough or a series of troughs will descend over the eastern US, plunging even colder air from the Arctic farther and farther south. This means there could be greater chances for snowstorms in the eastern US come late November into early December, all thanks to this negative NAO pattern that's setting up. Most large weather systems, including snowstorms, form on the eastern side of a trough. And since our negative NAO trough will likely have the eastern side of itself over the eastern US, we should see multiple chances for snowstorms to form in this region as we go into the beginning of December. For right now though, we need to bundle up because stable air is filling in behind the current snowstorms, and that's just going to keep us cold until this next big storm comes through. So as you can see, everything is coming together almost perfectly for a very active early winter season. And no, this isn't something that happens every year. The only reason I'm talking about this right now is because of how anomalously active it looks for the beginning of winter. I really do think this is a prelude to what could be a series of interesting storms on the East Coast. And as we enter this pattern that supports early snow snowfall, just know that you'll get all the latest info here before you can find it anywhere else, because this is my favorite season. Now, I'll admit, I get a little excited sometimes, okay? I love snow. Sometimes I'll see the GFS painting a big snowstorm, and I'll show it here on the YouTube channel a little bit prematurely because it's too far out and it goes away the next day or something. Just know that I'm a weather weenie at heart. And you've been warned, as we go deeper into winter, you have entered Weather Weenie Central. Now, usually I show this stuff just for fun, or there is some educational aspect to it, but I also just like to be a huge geek about the weather, and I know you do too. If you're watching this video right now this far in, you're a weather weenie, so go ahead and own up to it. Slap that like button, hit the subscribe button so we can geek out about it together. Huge shout out to all of our members over here. Thank you guys so much for being such a huge part of the channel. Guys, extra, you gotta subscribe to the Ryan Hall Y'all Extra channel. We're about to get to 70,000 subscribers over there. I'm telling you, that's where the action is, okay? I'm posting constantly over there because I can just post little updates here and there, okay? This channel's for the big videos, the big outlooks, the big deals. The small deals, I can post over there. So, you know, it's a balance. If you like me, if you like the weather that I do, follow me on both channels. But I know a lot of you are not following me on that one yet. So Ryan Hall Y'all Extra, there's a link in the description, or just search it, Google it, YouTube it, you'll find it, and I'll see you over there. And I'll also see you in the next video on this channel very soon. Goodbye. Ooh.